You're welcome back to the Youth Debate on Rubbin Minds, brought to you by Channels Television in collaboration with Enough is Enough Nigeria and Wayanaja Television. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendu. And we're on to our third segment for the debate now, focusing on the youth, education, and infrastructure. And let me introduce our speakers for this segment. From Team Atiku, Ilemona Onoja. And from Team PMB, Nduka Enweliku. Nice, a handshake. Thank you. I hope that goes on till the end of this. I'm going to start with Team Atiku now. And very quickly now, just infrastructure seems to be the biggest selling point of this government. I don't know what you want to do differently with your government if you get elected.
Thank you very much for having us, Ebuka. Thank you, Nigerians, for watching on the program. The biggest infrastructural achievements of this administration belong to somebody else. It's really that simple, and it's that straightforward. There's no need to belie the point. The biggest infrastructural achievements that the administration will call, it will give you an example of the Abuja-Kaduna Railway. But that was done by the Goodluck Jonathan administration. It was 100% paid for by the Goodluck Jonathan administration. It had a 4-year lifespan. And it was delivered on time within its 4-year lifespan. I'll give you another example. Second biggest achievement that this administration will try to claim. Airports around the country. Again, Goodluck Jonathan administration. Paid for 100%. Again, 4 to 5 year lifespan. Again, delivered on time. Now, what the Atiku plan going forward is, relies on two things. That sort of continuity, the ability to build trees or to plant trees that will provide shade even when we're not around to stand under that sort of shade, right? So what we intend to do is set up plans that help us access infrastructure financing over a period of time, 10 years, 15 years, short to medium term infrastructural improvement. We realize, and we've broken this down into certain sectors. We've broken it down into power, we've broken it down into transport, we've broken it down into aviation, and so on and so forth. We realize that Nigeria has an infrastructure deficit that sees us needing to invest around $35 billion annually to be able to cover up for our infrastructural deficit. We realize that. But the Nigerian budget is somewhere around $20 billion, the whole budget. What that tells you is that government does not have the money to fund infrastructural development at the pace that we require. Where will you go to? Who amongst the two teams do you think has the skills to attract that kind of money? It's definitely not APC, because under that administration, we've seen Ghana displace Nigeria as the highest attraction for foreign direct investment on the West African sub-region. To be fair, first of all, on the West African sub-region. What that tells you is that money has already voted. Money has voted to go elsewhere. Nigeria needs to vote to go elsewhere as well. We need to go to a team that has the competence, that has the ability to encourage money to come to Nigeria so that we can build infrastructure at the pace and in the quantum that we require. I'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Ilemona.
Yeah, thank you, Ebuka. It's clear, looking at what has happened between 1999 and 2015, the PDP government did not bequeath any infrastructure to this government. We came into this country, it was as if the country was at war. In 2015, I landed in Port Harcourt and I took a bus from Port Harcourt to Umuahia. I asked myself if the civil war just ended that day, because there was no road from Port Harcourt to Umuahia. There's no road presently Enugu to Port Harcourt. I went to Enugu in 2017 and I looked at it, I saw ditches. These are 6-feet ditches. Nothing in the southeast. And I asked my people, why are we so hell-bent on getting PDP into government in our states and at the federal level in the southeast? There's nothing in the Southeast. Nothing was done around Nigeria. $900 billion, between $900 billion and $1 trillion was gotten by the PDP administration between 1999 and 2015, and there was no infrastructure done. I remember seeing President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015 going back home, and they had to put planks across the gutter for him to cross to get to his house. It was that bad. No road to Yenogwa. If you go to Yenogwa, you think it's a village. If you go to Abeokuta, when Obasanjo left government in 2007, there was no road from Lagos to Ota. Same thing with Adamawa. Atiku did nothing in Adamawa. Round about Nigeria, there's no form of infrastructure at all. He's talking about giving us infrastructure, Kaduna Abuja Rail. Kaduna Abuja Rail was completed by this administration. No. If they're talking about completing projects, the Itakpe Rail has been ongoing for the past 30 years. Why didn't the PDP administration complete it? We started the Lagos-Kano Rail. The Lagos-Ibadan aspect of it will be commissioned in this month of February. Within a space of 2 years, that project was commissioned, started in 2017. The PDP did nothing with regards to infrastructure. They left our people, they bought private jets. Every day I go on Twitter, I start taking his private jet, and I wonder, just looking at our Nigerians, oh, look at me up there. If the roads were good, wouldn't he take the roads? Won't you take the road? The roads are not non-existent. Throughout the reign of Goodluck Jonathan, throughout the reign of the PDP, what private jets all over because our roads were not safe. Now I heard someone talking about Southern Kaduna. There are no roads in Kaduna. There are no roads anywhere. That's why when you see this crisis, security forces cannot get to those places on time. Our goods cannot be taken to the farms. But this government came and infrastructure. In every state in this country, there's a major road project going on. The Lagos-Kano Rail, in the next level, will take it from Ibadan to Kano. The Eastern Rail from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, passing through all the Southeast state capitals. Every part of Nigeria, there's a road project going on. Nigeria is a work in progress. If you look at the second Nigeria bridge, they did the design, they did everything in paparazzi, and nothing was done. Where are the monies? $900 billion gone into private pockets. And someone is telling me, even in Benue, the Oweto Bridge, where Lemon comes from, that has been controlled by this administration. Our farming and agriculture is moving forward. Nothing was done by the PDP. There was no framework. There's nothing. It's talking about a 15-year plan. PDP had no plan for Nigeria. If these infrastructures had been done, if they had been done by the PDP, we wouldn't be talking about lack of jobs. Infrastructure is the lifeblood of any economy. How do you get goods to the market? How do you move goods and services? How do people move around in the country without infrastructure? So that is what this administration is focused on. We're focused on rail, on seaport. The other day we launched the Barrow Seaport. The Barrow Inland Port, Seaport, Inland Waterways, Road, Rail, Airport. Interconnecting Nigeria and making life easy for Nigerians.
Thank you very much. I still want to stick with him because he needs to make his point and then you rebut. I find it interesting that you're saying that the PDP did nothing because I know that one of the nicknames that the current president has is completer-in-chief, which sort of states that he's completing projects started by the previous administration. So are you saying that's wrong?
Well, with regards to calling him completer general, most of these projects were started 30 years ago. Projects that could have taken 2-3 years. This is not true. Projects that could have taken the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Since I came into this, since I was going to school in the Ogun State, from 1986 till date, that road has been there. It was not completed. What was in that road that they couldn't complete it? They kept shifting the goalpost. If you look at the Lagos-Benin, I schooled in Uniben. All through the time I was in Uniben, that road was under construction because they left this project so that when one government comes, they take money from it, they come, they increase it, somebody else makes money from it again. That was just what they were all doing. So now you're talking about PDP. Look at the Southeast. Call anybody from the East Sudan. Let them tell me what did the PDP do in the Southeast? What did the PDP do in the Southwest? My sister schooled in Ogbomosho, Federal Government College of Ogbomosho. I remember going to Oyo Ibadan Ogbomosho Road. It was a death trap. Ibadan Ilorin, Mokwa Jeba, what we have done in this government. So these projects were all there. Did they look at the people? Did they care?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We'll quickly rebut certain things. And it is symptomatic of what the APC does, that it constantly misrepresents facts and misunderstands problems. And so because of that, it is unable to solve them. Ilemona is from Kogi State, not Benue. It's a fundamental mistake. Fundamental. I will now go and tell you about the Benue State project to which you refer. The Logo Oweto Bridge was, first of all, the project was sponsored. It was negotiated for by Senator David Mark. I have personal knowledge of this project, a fundamental part of the almost 161 kilometers of the road involved in that project that take it from Adoka to the border where the bridge had already been is being constructed had already been done. First of all, I will now come to my community. We have a road that starts in Enugu that is called it goes from Enugu to a position in Kogi State. It passes directly through my village, the Unadu Akpanya Odolu Road. It's a federal road. It was started by the administration
Thank you
of
very
President
much.
Goodluck Jonathan, and it was stopped by
Thank you very
the
much.
administration.
Thank you very much, Lemona. Let's move to education now, because sometimes with campaigns we tend to forget how important education is, and for a lot of people that is the reason why Nigeria is where it is today, because a lot of neglect has gone into that sector. We just saw us to go on an extended strike. What is the plan for education for tertiary institutions? Are there plans to make them self-sustaining? Is there plan to make primary education? What is the plan with regards to the Atiku Better Nigeria, Better Life plan?
I think one thing that people should hold at the back of their minds at this time is 4 strikes. Some are still ongoing. At least one is still ongoing. ASU, COASU, ASUP, and that's ASU, COASU, Colleges of Education, just terminated the strike. ASU just terminated the strike. ASUP, Polytechnics are still on strike. The fundamental problem relating to why we have a repeat of strikes is funding. Fundamentally, we had gotten to a stage where we had seen the Goodluck administration exponentially increase year on year the allocation, the percentage of allocation, the quantum, that is Naira value, and then the percentage of the allocation to education year on year between 2011 and 2015. Once the Buhari administration came in, there was a percentage reduction. The Atiku plan commits to increasing the allocation to education in the Nigerian budget to 20%. The UN recommended standard is 26%. But we take into cognizance the fact that with so much of our debt being used to service loans, with so much of our budget.
I want to jump in here, sorry, very quickly, because I know you've talked a lot about strikes and all of that. But I remember, a lot of Nigerians remember that the longest strike we've had in recent times happened under the PDP.
I'll remind you something.
I want to know what then is your traction this time?
I will quote one of the things that the president of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, quoted when he returned to the PDP. He said PDP has learned more from its defeat in 2015 than APC has learned from its victory. We have to say that we as people, we recognize, and one of the things that the PDP insists on doing to the Nigerian people is being truthful. We recognize that many mistakes were made in the past, but we have learned from those mistakes. And we're insistent that because we know where those pitholes have been in the past, we will make sure that we do not repeat them in the future. We have people who have refused to learn from their past, who are refusing to learn from their present, and who will definitely not learn from that future. We're saying to our people, we're saying to the Nigerian people that we recognize that if we increase funding to education, we'll be able to ensure that we have a situation where these strikes over earned allowances, over a backlog of salaries, over a lack of infrastructure in schools will be resolved. I know somebody will quickly throw the jibe at me about 16 years of PDP.
Thank you very much.
But like I want
to come to you.
PDP,
Sorry,
Nigeria
focusing on you now, because I know he mentioned that. I want us to focus on this 3 + 4 years that this president's government has been. What has the biggest achievement been in education?
Yeah, with regards to education, thank you. With regards to education, quickly I would like to talk about something. The issue about ASU strike started in 2001. From the strike of 2001, where the agreement was not respected, it was not implemented by the Obasanjo-Atiku government. And why didn't they implement it? They didn't implement it because Obasanjo as president, Atiku as vice president, wanted to establish private universities. Obasanjo established the Bells University, Atiku established the Apti University. And since then, throughout that tenure, they did not pay any attention to the university system. That is why you see even Apti primary schools, you have Apti secondary schools. So with that, with someone in government establishing schools in competition with the schools you're supposed to regulate and fund, do you think it will work? That's why our public schools went down the drain from 2001. Because if you look at all the leaders of Nigeria today, they all
asked the question.
No, hold on, I'll get there. I have to set a foundation for
Your time is almost up.
I have to set a foundation for our problems. You know, all our leaders were in public schools till now. But what we have now is education has been privatized. What we have done is this. We have revolutionized the public primary schools. With our school feeding program, 9.3 million children are being fed now, and in the next level, 15 million children will be fed. What has that done? That has kept children in school. A lot of children have gone to schools. My mother is a public school teacher. I've gone to schools where children do not come to school because they cannot eat. Children faint in classes. So a child that cannot eat cannot do well. So with that, we've increased the enrollment of children. You know, remember the PDP, they bequeathed 13.2 million out of school children to us. It was 10.2 million, it increased to 13.2 million as at 2015. So now, Now, we've increased the enrollment.
I believe it was 10 and it's now 13, is what I believe.
13.2 as at 2015. That's as at the World Bank as at 2015.
What's the result?
The report was.
So what is the number now?
It has gone that a new report has not come up.
What? Exactly. And that's my point.
Ebuka, the report it has reduced. We've had 20% increase in enrollment. You know, PDP with myth and legends, it came up with 26% UNICEF. There's nothing like 26% UNICEF requirement for budget. There's nothing.
All right,
like that
thank you very much.
But it's part of the lies they rehash.
We have to take a break, but I think the facts are pretty clear to me, at least as far as I can remember. It was 10 million, it's now 13, if I want to be clear. But we'll have to take a break. We'll come back. We'll have to take a break. Okay. I'll be right back. Please don't go away. Welcome back to the youth debate on Rubbin Minds. Please follow the conversation on social media. The hashtag is Rubbin Minds without a G. All right? All right, I'll switch our conversation now, and the next topic is corruption. And speaking for Team PMB, I'd like to call on Miani Booker, Public Policy and Governance Advisor. Please come up. And for Team Atiku, Special Advisor to Atiku on Policy, Mohamed Bello. Okay, thank you very much. Let's start with you, Miani. It was one of the biggest campaign points for President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 as well. It's also touted as one of the main things that he has sort of achieved with his government. But there's a lot of people who believe it's been one-sided and with not a lot of results. What do you think has happened and what's the plan going forward?
Thank you very much. I'll start with where you ended, with the results. And I'll just, because of time, be as specific as I can. We've had 103 convictions, not just taking people to court, but convictions in 2015, 194 in 2016, 189 in 2017, and 217 in 2018, counting. For property seized in those years that I've explained, 4 years, we've got 407 mansions that have been seized, some final, some interim. We've got 9 filling stations that have been seized from different persons who have stolen Nigeria's wealth and hidden in those assets. 98 plots of land, and the list continues. And then for money, which is mostly when you think of corruption, what people mention, 794 billion naira has been returned to our national coffers, $261 million, 1.1 million pounds, all cumulative there has been returned. So very clear terms, that is result. That is in terms of what has been gotten back for corruption that has already happened. A second result is the administrative measures that have been taken to ensure that corruption is stopped before it happens. We have passed the bill that gives full independence to the National Financial Intelligence Unit, which is now a commission to itself, so that it tracks all financial transactions without having any oversight by another agency. We have had an asset forfeiture bill that has, policy that has been promulgated. We've had a few executive orders that have been passed to the effect of making sure that the fight against anti-corruption isn't just punitive after the fact, but that it is captured administratively. Trainings have gone on for special team of lawyers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mohammed, now, I mean, without a doubt, is like the biggest sort of thing hanging over the neck of Vice President Atiku Abubakar with regards to corruption. And there doesn't seem to be a belief that he would even fight it. Is that true?
Of course he'll fight it. Atiku Abubakar has fought it before. The institution that Mr. Booker started by mentioning, the EFCC, he was one of the people who championed the EFCC. When the EFCC had funding issues, he was one of the people who ensured that the EFCC was funded. So you start there. Now, let's go to some of the scores that you gave the EFCC. If you note, when the Buhari administration scores themselves, they tend to score themselves very high. But contrast that with Transparency International. Transparency International said after 3.5 years of the Buhari administration, they have not improved in corruption. He may then tell you, well, our statistic went up. We went up 4 rankings. But what Transparency International said is the other 4 countries, they just did worse. Not that Nigeria did any better. Now, that's the score from an institution that all of us can trust. It's not me scoring myself. It's not President Buhari scoring himself. The NFIU he mentioned, it's a fantastic idea. And while future President Atiku believes that the NFIU is an idea that will work, that idea originates from the PDP. Senator Otazi from Enugu is the one who sponsored that bill. So there will be many ideas that come from the Senate that, of course, an executive will pass, but that's how governance works. President Buhari doesn't seem to understand the importance of the Senate, the judiciary, in his so-called fight against corruption. And in 2019, Nigerians, particularly young Nigerians, who you can read in your history books, you can read it on the internet, you can watch videos on YouTube, must fully understand the separation of powers and the role of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary in improving their lives. President Buhari is not special. He is a Nigerian like each and every one of us. Many young people will strive to be president one day. And they too will have the same orientation, that proper understanding of the role of governance, the role of institutions, and how those institutions are more important than any individual.
I'd like to come to you now. Can we not? Miani, a point you raised there about separation of powers has continued to be a talking point for a lot of people, and of course with specific regards to the Chief Justice of the Federation. What are your thoughts on how that was handled? Do you think the president did what was legal there?
Yes, the president did what was legal. These are the facts very clearly. The Supreme Court Justice did not declare assets. He is supposed to have. 1. 2, when that was brought
his removal legal, is what I want to know.
I will get to that. He has not been removed. First of all, he has been suspended. The president cannot remove him. The president can suspend him. The National Judicial Council,
he can suspend?
The National Judicial Council has the power to recommend to the Senate his removal. He was asked twice to constitute a meeting of the National Judicial Council. He refused. He was asked to come out and honorably excuse himself from the process so that the National Judicial Council, which he heads, and the rule of law is you cannot be a judge in your own cause, and he refused to do that. So by no way was the step taken by the president, and I must say the administration generally, a first measure. It was a last measure.
Thank you very much. I want to come to you now, because Vice President Atiku Abubakar was famously quoted in an interview not too long ago where he said he was going to enrich his friends, and he even laughed about it. And he might have an explanation for it, but for a lot of people, it seemed very weird that he was going to go into government and cronyism would come back or become a thing or be even bigger than it is now. Why? How do you explain that away?
I think it's a misunderstanding of what constitutes cronyism. To Alhaji Atiku, he does not hate wealth. So for him, the entire Nigerian population, anyone who is trying to do anything positive, whether it's start a technology company, start a microfinance bank, start a farm, you're his friend. Why? Because you will help him succeed. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar will not succeed as a president of Nigeria if Nigerians don't succeed. The main reason why everyone is calling President Buhari unsuccessful is because most Nigerians are poorer under him. So for Alhaji Atiku, he's saying to himself, Nigerians, my friends, let's work together, let's get richer, and let's improve the quality of our lives. It is that simple.
Thank you very much, guys. You may take your seat now. I'm going to call on your former colleagues. Can you put your hands together for them as they take their seats? So please wrap up the conversation. The two captains. No. Ikem and Demola, very quickly now, just a quick conclusion on the day. We've heard from both your teams. Anything you want to use to wrap this up? Very quickly, you have a minute.
No, you go first this time.
You can't seem to decide who wants to go first. Head or tail?
I went first the other time, so we should.
Okay, you go first, very quickly.
Head or tail? I'm fine with the head or tail.
We need to go. I'm going to wrap it up.
I'm fine with the head or tail.
Okay. What do you pick?
Head.
Tail. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Yes, that's good.
Okay, go.
Nigerians, you've heard the plans. Our team has spoken, their team has spoken. We brought our A game and we made sure that we convinced you of the facts. 4 years ago, as I said, I was here and I mentioned this fact. I do not plan to be here in a youth debate 4 years' time, but our lives are going away. The choices you make on Saturday, February 16, will determine the direction in which Nigeria will move for the next 4 years. If a man fools you once, shame on that man for duplicity, shame on that man for lying, shame on that man for deceit. But if a man fools you twice, shame on you for being foolish, shame on you for being gullible. Better is better. Next level has different interpretations. The next level of hunger. The next level of recession is depression. The next level of theft is drought.
Very quickly.
The next level of that will not go well for Nigeria.
Thank you. Okay. So I'll be, so thank you again. And you've heard what our plans are. And we believe that everyone who goes out in 6 days' time, you and I, we have a responsibility to ourselves, our children, our future, and our fellow citizens to reflect deeply and think about the sort of country that we are building and the sort of country that we're going to leave for our children. Now, we have two sides for the most part.
Thank you very much, Ikem. Thank you very much, Ikem. Can we put our hands together for all our speakers today? Thank you very much. Thank you. Please remain seated. Remain seated. Please remain seated. Thank you very much to our amazing audience. Almost amazing. You guys are quite well behaved. And of course, to our amazing speakers who did amazing today. Special thank you, of course, to Channels Television, Y Nigeria, and of course, Enough is Enough Nigeria. Thank you for following the conversation. Please, you still have till tomorrow to pick up your PVCs. If you haven't done that, try and do that by tomorrow. Elections are 6 days away. On the 16th of February, you're going to be voting to change your life pretty much. And I think the vote is in your hands. If you do not do it, nobody else will do it for you. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next Sunday.